I never thought my life could shatter in a single moment. But standing in my dimly lit kitchen, the rain pounding against the windows like a drum of dread, I felt the ground crumble beneath me. My name is Jessica, and for 18 years, I've poured my heart into a marriage that I thought was my safe harbor, until I discovered a secret so dark, so unthinkable, it turned my husband into a stranger. The whispers of betrayal, the hidden debts, and the chilling deal he made behind my back have left me reeling, questioning everything I thought I knew. Now, as I stand at the crossroads of trust and heartbreak, a dangerous proposition looms, one that could either save me or destroy everything I've ever held dear. What did he offer, and how far will I go to reclaim my life? Picture this. I'm standing at my kitchen window, watching the late afternoon sun dip behind the uneven rooftops of my little suburban neighborhood just outside Columbus, Ohio. The glass is smudged from years of half-hearted cleaning, but I don't mind. It's a mirror to my life, functional, but far from perfect. My name's Jessica, I'm 43, and I've spent nearly 2 decades carving out a quiet existence here in this modest 2-story home with a patchy lawn that never quite greens up, no matter how much I try. The garage out back is a shrine to my husband Mark's world, stacked with tools, smelling of oil and sawdust, a testament to his work as a contractor. Mark's 45 now, rough around the edges with calloused hands and a temper that flares when the bills pile up. But beneath it all, there's a tenderness he saves just for me. Or at least, there used to be. I've always been the steady one in our 18-year marriage. The one who keeps the lights on, literally and figuratively. My days are spent hunched over a laptop in our cramped dining room, fielding calls as a remote customer service rep for a local insurance company. It's mind-numbing work, but it pays, and someone has to balance Mark's knack for spending more than we've got. Our life isn't glamorous, but it's ours, or so I tell myself when the silence between us grows heavier each day. I can't help but notice the way Mark's been slipping out lately, coming home long after the streetlights flicker on, his phone buzzing with calls he won't answer in front of me. I don't ask. Not yet. These past few weeks, I've felt the ground shifting beneath me, like the foundation of our marriage is cracking in ways I can't quite repair. It started with the little things. Mark snapping at me over dinner being 5 minutes late, his voice cutting sharper than I'm used to, leaving me stunned at the kitchen counter with a pot of lukewarm spaghetti in my hands. Then there's his phone, always buzzing, always angled away from me. Texts he reads with a furrowed brow before locking the screen and shoving it into his pocket. I've tried to brush it off, but the unease gnaws at me. One day, while rummaging through his desk drawer for a pen, I stumbled on a stack of unpaid bills, electric, water, credit cards, all stamped with angry red past due notices. My stomach dropped. Why hadn't he told me? We've always faced this stuff together. That rainy Tuesday evening in our kitchen, I couldn't hold it in anymore. The rain was hammering against the windows, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. I held up the bills, my voice trembling as I asked, "Mark, what's going on? Why are we behind on everything?" He barely looked at me, just wiped his hands on a dish towel and muttered, "I've got it handled, Jess. Just trust me." But his tone was like a blade, slicing through any reassurance I might have clung to. For the first time, I felt this cold pang of distrust, a feeling so foreign it made my chest ache. I stood there, rain streaking down the glass, wondering who this man in front of me even was. Then there's Ethan and Caleb, Mark's old buddies from way back. That Friday night, I couldn't shake the tension that had been building inside me all week. The air felt heavy as I stepped out the back door, the faint hum of crickets mixing with the distant bark of a neighbor's dog. I headed toward the garage, drawn by the muffled voices and the occasional sharp clink of glass on metal. Mark had been out there for hours, and I needed answers. Real ones this time. As I pushed the creaky side door open, a wall of cigarette smoke hit me, stinging my eyes. The dim fluorescent light overhead flickered, casting jagged shadows across the cluttered space. There they were, Mark, Ethan, and Caleb, locked in a conversation that stopped dead the moment I stepped inside. Ethan was leaning against the workbench, arms crossed tight over his chest, his jaw set like he was holding back a storm. Caleb paced near a stack of old tires, a smirk playing on his lips that made my skin crawl. And Mark looked like a ghost, pale and hollow, his eyes darting to the concrete floor as if it held some kind of escape. "What the hell is going on?" I demanded, my voice sharper than I intended, cutting through the smoky haze. The silence that followed was suffocating. Mark opened his mouth, then closed it, his hands fidgeting with the edge of a beer bottle. Finally, he looked up at me, and the words tumbled out like a confession he couldn't hold in any longer. "Jess, I owe 12 grand to a guy, a loan shark. It was for a business deal, a stupid investment that tanked. I missed the deadline to pay it back." My heart plummeted, a cold weight settling in my chest. $12,000? How could he keep something like this from me? I wanted to scream, to demand how we'd fix it, but before I could, Mark's voice dropped even lower, barely a whisper. "I made a deal to settle it. I told them they could have you for the weekend. As payment." The world tilted. My breath caught in my throat, and for a moment, I thought I'd misheard him. But then Caleb let out a low, guttural chuckle that snapped me back to the grim reality of what I'd just heard. My knees felt weak, but I couldn't let myself collapse, not in front of them. I turned and stumbled out of the garage, the cold night air hitting my face like a slap. I didn't stop until I was back in the house, locking the bedroom door behind me. Tears burned my eyes as I sank to the floor, the weight of Mark's betrayal crushing me. How could he even think of trading me like I was some kind of currency? The man I'd built a life with, shared my dreams with, had reduced me to a bargaining chip. Days passed, but the ache in my chest only grew sharper. I'd been crying for hours when I heard a soft knock on the bedroom door. Dragging myself up, I wiped my face, though I knew my puffy eyes and blotchy skin would betray me. I cracked the door open, and there stood Ethan and Caleb, shifting on their feet like they didn't know where to look. The hallway light cast harsh shadows on their faces, making Ethan's furrowed brow and Caleb's tight-lipped frown even more pronounced. I wanted to slam the door, to shut out anything tied to that horrific night, but something in their posture, hesitant, almost ashamed, made me pause. Ethan cleared his throat, his voice low and rough. "Jess, we didn't want any part of what Mark planned. We've been caught up in his mess too, owing money we can't pay, stuck under his thumb because of old loyalties. But that deal he made? We couldn't stomach it." Caleb nodded, stepping closer, his eyes meeting mine for the first time. "We're done with the shark, cut ties completely, and we want to help you get out of this, whatever it takes." Their words hung in the air, heavy with a sincerity I wasn't sure I could believe. My mind raced, torn between the raw pain of distrust and a flicker of relief at hearing something, anything, that wasn't another lie. Mark had woven a web of deceit, but these two? They seemed to be laying their cards on here I am, sitting on my worn-out couch, the fabric frayed at the edges from years of restless nights and heavy thoughts. The room is dim, lit only by a single lamp in the corner, casting a soft amber glow over Ethan and Caleb as they sit across from me. The air feels thick, not just with the lingering scent of old coffee, but with the weight of what I'm about to say. I take a deep breath, my hands trembling slightly as I look at them, Ethan with his steady, concerned gaze, and Caleb with that quiet intensity that always seems to see right through me. "I'm leaving Mark," I say, the words spilling out, raw and final. For good. As soon as I say it, it's like a boulder rolls off my chest, leaving me lighter, almost dizzy with the release. I've been carrying this decision for days, maybe even years, but speaking it aloud makes it real. I see Ethan's eyes widen just a fraction, and Caleb's jaw tightens, but neither of them speaks. The silence urges me on, and before I can stop myself, more truth tumbles out. I don't want to be alone, though. I've been alone in this marriage for too long, and after everything, your support, your honesty, I feel something with both of you, something I can't ignore. My voice cracks at the end, and I'm as shocked as they are by what I've just admitted. My heart races, pounding against my ribs like it's trying to break free. The room goes still, the kind of quiet that feels electric, charged with unspoken possibilities. Ethan shifts, his hand rubbing the back of his neck as he gives a slow, hesitant nod, like he's weighing every consequence but can't deny what's between us. Caleb, though, lets a slow grin spread across his face, his eyes locking with mine in a way that sends a shiver down my spine. "We're in, Jess," he says softly, his voice low and sure. "If you're willing to try this, whatever this is, we're with you." Ethan murmurs his agreement, and just like that, we're standing on the edge of something entirely new, something I never imagined for myself. A month has passed since that night on the couch, and here I am, settling into a small apartment just a few miles from the old house, a fresh start in a space that's all mine. The walls are still bare, the furniture mismatched, but it feels like a sanctuary. Ethan's been a rock through the move, showing up with a toolbox and a quiet determination to help me assemble a rickety bookshelf that wobbled until he tightened every last screw. His presence is steady, grounding, like he's building more than just furniture. He's building trust. Caleb, on the other hand, brings a lightness I didn't know I needed. He'll crack a dry quip about my questionable taste in thrift store lamps, and suddenly I'm laughing, the weight of the past lifting just a little. We've set boundaries, taking things slow, because whatever this is between the three of us, it's uncharted territory. There's a bond growing, though, a deep friendship with undercurrents of something more, something I'm still unraveling in my heart. I catch myself lingering on the warmth of Ethan's hand brushing mine as we unpack boxes, or the way Caleb's gaze holds mine a beat too long, stirring feelings I haven't felt in years. It's confusing, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once. But there are moments of pure joy that make me believe this could be real. Like the other night, when we crowded into my tiny kitchen to cook dinner. I was stirring a pot of marinara, and Caleb, trying to be helpful, knocked the jar over, splattering sauce across the counter. We burst into laughter, the kind that hurts your sides, as Ethan grabbed a towel and teased us about making a mess of everything. For the first time in forever, I felt seen, truly seen, in a way Mark never made me feel, even in our best years. But it's not all easy. The world outside my little apartment isn't always kind. I've noticed the whispers from neighbors when they see us together, the sideways glances and judgmental stares when we grab coffee at the corner diner. I hear the murmurs, "Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you."